Well, after months of being held in a Russian jail, WNBA star and Houston native Brittney Griner, her trial started today.
She is facing drug charges after authorities say she was found with vape cartridges that allegedly contained cannabis oil. Rekha Mudaraj gets an update from a CNN correspondent in Moscow.
CNN correspondent Fred Pleiken joining us now. Fred, thank you. What happened in court today?
Hi, Rekha. Well, Brittney Griner was in that courtroom for about 2.5 hours, and we saw her getting let in. We also saw her getting let out at the end of the trial. We weren't able to keep our cameras in there as the trial was going on. But essentially what happened was that she was read the charges. She was asked whether she understood the charges and whether she wanted to comment on the charges. She said yes, she did understand them. However, she did not want to comment. Then 2 witnesses were questioned. And then we got a little more detail as to what exactly all of this is about. The Russian prosecutor saying that 2 cartridges with cannabis oil were found on Brittney Griner as she tried to enter Russia through an airport in Moscow, and that one of them contained about 0.25 grams of cannabis oil and the other around 0.45. So in total, we're talking about 0.7 of a gram of cannabis oil, and that could bring with it a jail sentence of up to 10 years here in Russia, Rekha.
Griner's wife has said she is struggling. She is terrified. What was Griner's demeanor in court today?
Yeah, again, so we weren't allowed to have our cameras inside the courtroom, but I did speak to several people who were inside, including one of Brittney Griner's lawyers. And he told me that, yes, she is, of course, concerned, especially about the fact that there's this 10-year jail sentence that could be dangling out there, but that she is actually very, very strong. Apparently, she's keeping physically fit inside the detention center that she's in, but she's also mentally strong and says she's in good spirits. It was quite interesting because the U.S. Embassy actually had personnel inside the courtroom as well. The charge d'affaires of the U.S. Embassy here in Moscow saying she was able to speak to Brittney Griner and that she remains in good spirits and is, quote, keeping the faith, Rekha.
Fred, what's next for Griner's trial?
The trial was adjourned today after those 2.5 hours. We know that there are further witnesses that the prosecution wants to question. It's not clear whether or not the defense is actually going to bring forth any witnesses as well. We asked her lawyers whether that's the case. They said they didn't want to comment on that. We do know, however, that the next trial date has been set for July 7th, so about a week from now, when the next sort of installment of this trial is set to happen. We've been told by the court not to expect a verdict anytime soon. So it's really unclear whether we could expect a verdict on that next trial date or whether there is going to be further trial dates in the future, Rekha.
And we will keep on this story. Fred Pleiken, thank you so much for that update.
Now, historically, we understand Russian prosecutors convict 99% of defendants. On KHOU.com right now, an international lawyer has details on the options for a prisoner swap to get Brittney Griner back to the U.S.
We certainly hope so. Pastors and law enforcement